and like we've always spoke about, a competitive squad, very tight calls, and obviously Callum's been playing week in week out for Cardiff, really good level, and obviously Andy's having, obviously just out of the team at the minute, but he's had loads of minutes with Stoke, and obviously Will has just got back into the Southampton team. Played 2 good games, obviously against Chelsea and Liverpool, but he's just obviously picked up a little knock. So, and because of the way the situation is in terms of a short week and the intensity of the games, obviously Ryan getting back into that Southampton team as well, different spells starting, coming on, affecting it, as you mentioned, really close calls. So delighted to have the 2 lads in,
because it's something we mentioned to him, Andy in particular. He had quite a moment, I suppose, in Wembley. I mean, he came on in a difficult game, obviously the way the game went, but he made a good impression. Yeah,
look, standing up, showing his ability, and obviously taking that situation on board. As the Hamer spoke about him, that there's going to be a little progress with him. He's definitely one that we know all about, but it's just getting the timing right as well with him in terms of what he does with his club as well going forward. But he definitely has all the attributes we want. What sort of a game do you expect Bulgaria to be? Yeah, very competitive. You see the run of results in terms of the tight games, clean sheets, not many goals scored in some of their games, but obviously there's that one strange result, shall we say, against Northern Ireland. But very competitive and a good test, proper test, but one we're well able for. And do you think that Northern Ireland result is an outlier? Well, when you look at our last 10-12 games, it definitely is. Matt, can I ask you, and I'll go straight in with this, you've been quoted as saying that Hamer was disrespectful towards you. Do you still feel that?
No, look, at the time, I stand by the comments I made at the time. It's obviously a long time ago, and a lot has kind of passed since then. So at the moment, we have a good relationship, and everything seems to be fine. Did you sit down and talk it out? No, we haven't spoken too much. We cleared things up, I think, the last time I was in camp, so everything seems fine now. Because you came under a lot of criticism as well for some of your performances. How did you respond to that? No, when it comes to criticism, I don't care too much about the criticism. I did an interview a few weeks ago where I said I'd rather take the criticism over some of the younger players. I know that I'm able to handle the criticism, so yeah, that's fine by me. Well, how did you feel when you weren't in squad? Yeah, obviously you want to be in every squad as a player. It's natural to think that. Obviously I was disappointed at the time, which I said, but I've managed to work my way back in, so everything's all good now. And John, can I ask you about Matt? I mean, was that a difficult one from your point of view to try and deal with? Nah, look, it's straightforward. Once Matt is playing and playing well, it's the key. He'll know that himself. He's a totally different animal when he's playing football. You can see that now how he's currently playing for Wolves. And if we have that Matt, he's always going to be in the squad. Simple as that.
Anything, please?
John, how are you?
Everything it?
So first of all, just looking back to the last game, to come off the pitch on the back of such a tough defeat, is that something that had to be addressed this week before you can move on to Bulgaria?
I think it is, in the sense of amongst the staff especially. Obviously we debriefed it a lot, but you don't want to dwell on it either, because it's such a short week in terms of getting the ideas across about Bulgaria. Away game, tough away game to start, and then obviously bringing them back to Dublin. So there will be pointers obviously that'll be mentioned over the next couple of days, but ultimately not to dwell on it too much, because obviously a few days before that you have a victory as well. So there's positives and always things to learn.
Yeah, just looking ahead to the game, you talk about their defensive capabilities. Does it still encourage you to take the lead in this tie and go and put on performance away to make it a little bit easier when you get home?
Yeah, ideally you would, and you're hoping you can obviously take that challenge on board, but you also know you're respectful of every opponent, but also hopeful that the team we pick can perform to a level that we know we can win the game as well. So it's getting that balance right and making sure we we can do the business in both games, but look after the first game first, tough away game, and make sure you've a lot to play for when we go to Dublin.
So, thanks.
Any further questions to the live section? Matt Doherty?
John, just in terms of, do you have to have a quick word with James having his red card yesterday, and maybe with Queeveen the disappointment of losing the final at Wembley?
No, looking at the manager, and the manager would have spoke to Queeveen in that sense, and James, but in terms of the individual characters themselves, I think they're two brilliant characters, and their temperament. Obviously I know James getting his red card, but I think that would be a perfect example of a younger player getting used to the championship as well. He's had massive highs and a couple of little dips as well in terms of but the performance level that he's been able to reach so quickly has been great to see. He was probably one of the star performers towards the end of the under-21 campaign as well, so he's on a very much an upward trajectory. And obviously with Queeveen, it was nice of him to obviously let Newcastle win a trophy for the first one in a while. He has a few of them, Queeveen, so he'll be okay. He'll be sound.
Hi Matt. Can I just ask you, were you concerned earlier in the season when you weren't getting so much minutes that you had, the way you were being viewed as a player was as a squad player, or did you retain that self-belief and you get back into the side?
Squad player here, or?
No, well, sorry, when you weren't getting as many minutes.
No, I didn't think of myself as a squad player. It might have looked like that at the time, not getting as many minutes as I wanted, but look, the belief that I have, I knew there was a change possible in myself getting into the team. It's a long season. As long as you stay available, stay fit and ready, which I pride myself on doing, I knew an opportunity would come, and then it would be up to me to see if I'd be able to take it, and I've managed to do that so far.
And had you had conversations with staff about, your lack of game time at that stage? Or?
I had a few at the start of the season. Obviously I played the first couple of games and then was out for a while. So yeah, you obviously have conversations. You wouldn't be normal if you didn't speak to the manager when you weren't playing, figuring out what you can do to get back in the team. But yeah, things have changed in the positive, and I'm very happy about it.
And just how better do you feel about yourself? Because you had difficulties in terms of let it go, move and whatever else, and so to have that run where you are getting game time after being a bit up and down for a while, does that give you a new lease of life, basically? Yeah,
a new lease of life. I mean, I've always felt good about myself, even when I wasn't playing. But look, when you're playing, it kind of changes. It does change how you feel. You feel everything's a little bit better on and off the pitch when you're playing. So yeah, look, as a player, if you're playing every week, it doesn't get any better than that. That's the whole point in you going on that kind of career path. You want to just play your games every week, and yeah, I'm fortunate enough at the moment that the manager trusts me and believes in me and is playing me.
John Fallon?
John, how are you?
How are you doing, John?
Your former teammate and assistant, Glenn Whelan, he's manager now, but he's still a bit of country. Probably the last window was given to you since. You might have heard what he said about the squad at those time there. I don't know if you're aware of that, are you?
Oh, there's a fair chance I'm aware, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, I know you just get in touch. Have you discussed that, or do you think he has a point, or do you just?
No, I wouldn't have discussed it. It was obviously just that's everyone's entitled to their opinion. You know what I mean? And it's obviously when you get a couple of bad results or you get a different performance that everyone has an opinion about it, and these things are respected. But we keep things tight in house as well.
You've no problem with the attitude or the conviction of the players?
Never when anyone turns up to play for Ireland, no.
Thanks.
Dan?
Hey John, just at the squad announcement last week, Hamer spent a bit of time talking about maybe the disconnect between maybe the league managers like Damien Duff and Stephen Bradley and the national team. I mean, do you have any sense of that yourself? Do you sort of see what he was saying there?
Look, I think it's just I suppose the manager was trying to talk about to keep everything an understanding of what's required, what's needed, how to get that balance right to kind of please everyone. It's always obviously a bit tricky in that sense, but I think it's one of them things. Like the boss said, when when the national team is doing well and the League of Ireland teams are doing well, that's what we all want. Why do we have to be on different pages?
Just slightly off topic, but I know Colin Healy's a former teammate of yours. Have you spoken to him at all in the last while? Do you have any sort of opinions on how his situation worked out at the FPI? Because obviously, I mean, people have been speaking about Damien and Stephen Bradley. That was one of the...
Yeah, look, it's one of them things, isn't it? It's a shame how it turned out as such, but these things happen in football. You know what I mean? The communication side of it, obviously. Colin obviously feels that it wasn't put across to him rightly, and look, you have to respect that. But it's a case of these things happen in football. We have to move on from it. We have to learn from it, but we have to move on as well.
You've been happy in your own dealings with the FPI in terms of communication around your position at times?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was kept in the loop all the time.
Alan, please.
Hey John, it's 4 months since the last game. Like, I'm sure you were happy with the progress of the squad, even if the results weren't well over the Nations League campaign. Can that be lost now, or is it a worry bringing it back?
No, I think when you see the development, obviously the lads go back to their clubs, and in terms of the minutes, the game time they're getting, that's the most important thing. When you flip it back to what we're going to have to face in this week, the quick turnaround in the game, travelling over there, getting back, being ready to go again, and the situation of some of the boys in the group, in the squad, is very, very positive, you know. So I think that's why you can't dwell on things too much. Yeah, you obviously have to reflect and learn, and hopefully put those things right in the next 2 games.
Yeah, relegation isn't normally something discussed in the international game. Does that add some pressure?
Well, yeah, obviously it does. You don't want that to be the case. You want to go on a good run. You want to go on a positive run of games before obviously September.
Gavin?
Matt, what clicked that got you back into the Wolves team, or how did your form turn? Was it a bit of luck? Can you remember what happened that got you back on this run again?
No, I think results weren't going well really at club level, and the manager decided that he relied on me for a particular game, and I played well for Gary for 2 games, and I think maybe even 3 games before he got sacked. And then obviously Vitor came in and changed my position first training session, and I've not played out wide since. And I'm like almost thankful for that, because the position I'm playing in, I'm really enjoying, and I feel like I'm playing well. I'm getting, I'm involved in the game quite a bit defensively, and even just in build-up play. So yeah, look, I always back myself to turn things around, even when things weren't going well, and I've managed to do it again. So I'm pretty happy.
You got the right as a free. That was new for you. How did you?
Yeah, it was.
It was a natural thing to happen at this point.
Well, I played centre back a lot when I was growing up. And kind of just when I went to Wolves at the very start, kind of just fell into the right back slot. So going centre back was something that maybe I wanted to do later on in my career. I mean, I am 33 now, so that isn't necessarily young, but it was something that I was kind of looking for. Maybe.
Right back here, though,
huh?
Are you right back in John's eyes still? Or
oh, I'm whatever. Left back, right wing, left wing back. I'll be whatever. So yeah, look, things are going well. I'm not complaining.
Brendan, please.
Matt, can I ask you? You always, do you feel as if you always have to prove a point in your career over the last number of years? And if so, is that a mindset that has served you well?
Prove a point to who?
To
just the general
managers, coaches, teammates, whatever. When you're out of favour, or whatever. Do you need that type of mentality, that sort of hard-headedness?
No, I just think you need to have the belief in your own ability, I guess. Yeah, but I've never felt like I'm always having to prove a point to people. No, like I've played a lot of games in my career, so for a large part of my career, the manager's obviously been happy with what I've been doing. So, yeah, the last couple of years probably haven't gone as well as planned in my head. But you have a long career, things change, and there's going to be periods of time where you're completely out of favour, and obviously I've had that, and I've had times as well where I've felt like the main man. So I think for me the key is to just kind of stay in that medium ground, level-headed all the time, never get too up, never get too down, and that's done well for me over the course of my whole career.
Sean, please.
Hi John.
Yeah.
Troy
Sean?
and Adam Ida are enjoying the best seasons of their careers in terms of goals scored. How much of a plus is that coming into this week?
Oh, look, it's a huge plus. Goal scoring is obviously one of the, if not the hardest thing in the game, so it's very important. You have that confidence. 2 players playing in Europe as well, obviously. And obviously Adam now has got another kind of fight on his hands to get that starting spot in the Celtic team. He's obviously coming on and affecting games. So look, that's an ongoing run for himself. But the most important thing is they're coming into us fitting well, and obviously confident from scoring goals and playing in Europe and playing in big occasions. And the more that happens for Irish players, the better.
Just on the opposite end of that, how much of a concern is Evan's lack of starts and minutes coming into these?
Yeah, look, it always is. It always is the case in that sense of any player that comes into the squad when we're trying to assess everything. Can he start? Can players? How they're going to impact the game? What way can that go about it? But hopefully that'll improve from the rest of the season, and we'll see what happens over the next course of these 2 games as well. But he looked very sharp in training this morning.
Paul, please.
John, sorry, I was going to ask you about Evan Ferguson as well. Like when a club signs a player on loan for the second half of the season, you'd kind of expect them to play a bit more, would you?
Yeah, exactly that. You would, and especially a former manager that obviously knows him well. But listen, there's the Premier League teams. Matt will tell you there's big competition for places. You know what I mean? So and obviously they probably felt as well there was a little niggling injury, I think, as well, that they had to build up fitness too. So hopefully that'll improve towards the end of the season, and we see Evan get more starts for sure for the club. That'll help massively.
Does that take a bit of management? That like there's been so much made of Evan because of his age, maybe over the last while, that he can be up here, and then sometimes football can be a tough game as well. Do you have to kind of manage his own expectations a bit? Yeah, you would do, but that's like we mentioned, a classic example of a learning curve. And he's got to, obviously, simple as knuckle down in training, prove to us this week, prove to West Ham when he goes back that he deserves a start, that you deserve to be in the team. And when you get the chance, if it's 5 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour, that you show why you should be in the team. So it's a combination of all that.
And Mark.
Your old pal Damien Duff again, he said last Friday that he didn't even realise there was a game this week, and he asked a friend if he'd come along with him, and then laughed and so on. Like, whatever about disconnect with League of Ireland managers, is there a concern that there could be a growing disconnect with the Irish football public?
No, listen, I'm fairly sure deep down Damien knew who Ireland were playing. I'd be fairly confident. Maybe he just doesn't like his friend and he didn't want to go to the game.
Thank you very much, guys.